Here they are. Okay. Hello. Well, I'm seeing there's viewers, but there's no one talking. Are y'all alive? Let's just check my volume levels and stuff. Okay, my mic's there. Okay. Should be a better mic this time as well, because I'm not using my default laptop one. Anyway, well, while I wait for more people to come along, I guess there's enough of you here for me to start. So this was a suggestion by one of my commenters who said that Shopping Trip was a song that he was hooked on at the moment. So I thought, okay, we'll do a little deconstruction of it, and we'll have a mess around with that and break down the parts. So as usual, I always start with percussion, because it provides the rhythmical backbone of a track to me, and probably many others too. So a typical crash cymbal built in from Mixcraft, which I use quite a lot of the time. I don't really mix up my crash cymbals a lot. I use the Mixcraft ones quite a lot and just EQ them and pitch them and stuff. So it's there very subtly in the background, and this is the kick. So most of the percussion was done on the LM1 because I just like the chunkiness the sounds have, and I love the LM1 snare. So that's just that, very simple LM1 stuff. I think the hi-hats, were they LM1s as well? Yeah. When you hear the LM1 just outside, it just sounds like an old 80s demo. And these bits. So, it's on the offbeat. And I'll admit that was inspired from, is it Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover? The Thomas song. And it has these little clicky bits on the offbeat, which I think just adds a bit of crunch to the rhythm, a bit of pluck, a bit of texture, which is what I like. So I did that, pitched them down, and went away with it. But then I remembered, like, I think I've got the original, the LM1 tambourine as well. then we have a cowbell. Because cowbell's just awesome. Needs more cowbell, as the meme says. And I think this was a cabasa. Yeah. I think there was one more noise that I incorporated, which I think I took from... If anyone's ever used the Proteus 2000, you'd know that there's like a disgusting amount of percussive sounds you can pick from when you get to like bank 7, A and B, because there's so much. There's so many snares and metallic noises and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, if you really dig deep, you'll find some sounds that will add a bit of more unique identity to some of your compositions if you really dig deep for the samples and stuff down there. But yeah, this was one of them. I forgot which kit it was, but it was kind of like a very airy tambourine sound, just very something mechanical that I wanted to have in. You know, you lay that with a tambourine, it gives it a bit of you know, because they're both kind of metallic-ish kind of noises. Just adds a bit more harmonic to the sound, if you ask me. Put them together. Something kind of like what you'd hear in Trevor's theme, you know, with the clever sound design there, which was kind of done to make it sound like an engine's turning and working, which is amazing on their part. But yeah, let's go down. So now we're getting to the bass. Now the bass was just a simple, I think it was another Proteus 2000 thing from one of the banks. It's just a very classic emulation of like a normal Moog bass. So that's the bass line from Shopping Trip. I mean, what can I really say? I mean, in terms of, let's say, you know, the kind of feeling I was going for, I wanted it to, obviously it's a major key, but I wanted it to have these certain parts where there was something ominous to it, just small parts, and that was kind of to emulate, you know, that shopping isn't always straightforward. There's always going to be people in the way, or, you know, something that you wanted is gone, or just any other thing like that, any other kind of like inconvenience. And that was kind of the thing that I was trying to emulate. So for example, what I mean by that is here. So we go from a major happy, and I'll explain this sound in a minute. Nice, and we go to, see that bit, you know, it kind of breaks the mood a bit, and that's what I'm referring to, is, you know, it's a bit of a whoops moment, not a whoops, but a bit of a I can't describe it. I mean, I'm not really the best with explaining this stuff, apart from more trying to talk from more like an emotional perspective or something like that, or the feeling that I'm trying to go for it. But anyway, so we have a classic with the bass and stuff. It's classic, you know, done in partial style, which is like, it's just the same track, you know, cloned multiple times but with different sounds or something like that, to create basically like a partial, like you would on a synclavier, for example. And yeah, this is just basically to give it more weight, give it more body. So underneath the classic Moog bass that I chose, there is a Jupiter 8 bass, which is just very warm, but it adds like some thickness and warmth to the bass that maybe the other one might be lacking. And this tends to be a lot of my go-tos for that reason. So that's the bass that I probably use in all of my Thomas stuff, to be honest. It's just very straightforward, nice, simple synth bass sound. But then I've accompanied that with some layered piano. Because it's not, it's not a kid's track without a piano doing the bass, is it? So anyway, we get down to one of the more interesting sounds on this track, which is this one, which I kind of discovered by accident. And on its own, you can clearly hear that it's a kind of a brass instrument. But when you play it with other stuff, to me it sounds like some form of like a clean guitar with like some sort of effect on it. And that was kind of the thing I wanted to kind of emulate, really, because I can't play guitar, so I was like trying to find some sort of similar feeling for that, really. And so this is what I chose. And I laid it with a piano doing the chords just to give it some extra texture, but nothing too extravagant. Which is just key zone. And I think this one, even though this is a lot more subtle in the mix, to be honest, it doesn't really have a lot of relevance here, but it's just there. Which is kind of a calliope sort of noise. And this takes, we go back to some of the panned synth woodwinds like this one. That's one of my favourite sounds, and that is the oboe from the Juno 6. And because I didn't want the sounds to be, obviously the sound is synthetic, but I wanted it to kind of be like, synth versions of orchestral instruments that we hear. So this is an oboe. And we have the part that everybody recognises, which is somewhat akin to Postman Pat's travelling theme a little bit, just on these, I'd say mainly just on these notes. Mainly that bit. I mean, I can hear the resemblance in it, but I wouldn't say it was the intention. And you have the square lead. So yeah, those are the. I'd say, those parts are there, but I'd say they're so overshadowed by the primary lead in the track that you don't really hear what those parts are doing actually, especially with all the other bits going on. So we'll go through that bit again. So. And we'll add the bass. So this time we'll go through Cannibalibra, the bass and the chords, I guess, and the other leads. The reason why I added Steel Bells is because as I was making this, I thought this sounds like to me it sounds like a theme tune, low key for like a I don't know, for like a Jamaican children's program, because it just has this kind of like a reggae-ish vibe to it, mainly because of that guitar. So I was going for a bit of a Caribbean feeling now. I'm of Caribbean heritage, if some of you wasn't aware. So I was just like, okay, I kind of want to softly, I mean, it's not like making bashment or anything like that, but you know what I mean, you kind of want to, even in just the children's way, incorporate a little bit of that into the music. They are, obviously, as most people might be well familiar with the sound already, they are the Proteus 2 strings, the Makatos, I think. And they were just a bit of, I don't know, to give it some, just to make it less empty, I suppose. I mean, strings always kind of work for stuff like that, so some subtle strings in the background. I love the Mixcraft's Irish whistle is so fun to use. So we'll play it all back. is that? I think there was a... What did I notice? Oh yeah, there's this thing. This instrument in the background. Yeah, there's always. I like having an instrument that's doing something, but in the final mix, it's just barely noticeable. But it does have it has its role. Do a leadless mix. Yeah, I think that is pretty much all I've got to say about that one. Oh, my mistake. But I think that's all I've really got to say about that one. But yeah, that was just a little thing because someone wanted to see that. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and I will